Well, it's finally here. The Stadium Series, in which the New Jersey Devils will be taking on the Philadelphia Flyers later tonight. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to the game and also the pregame festivities, including a concert from the Jonas Brothers. Devils team reporter Catherine Bogart joined me on today's episode as we're going to get her insight about the event and also what fans can look forward to, and we'll get some thoughts on the game in general. There's a whole lot to discuss in today's episode alongside with Catherine. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Mattias.
Elliott scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed it. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here on Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play-by-play announcer, Devils writer for Pucks and Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member Trey Matthews. Joining me on today's episode is a person you might hear and see on New Jersey Devils TV quite frequently, bringing you the behind-the-scenes coverage alongside with the likes of Amanda Stein and Sam Kazan. Some of her past work includes working for USA Hockey, Hockey East, and Boston University. A fellow Pac-12 student since she attended the University of Colorado Boulder. Yes, I can still say that. It's not completely defunct quite yet. She's ready to talk all things Stadium Series and more. It's team reporter Catherine Bogart. Catherine, how you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having me on, Trey. And we can always love the Pac-12, even when it is done after this year.
Yep. Still got the rest of the basketball season and baseball season, so it is not completely defunct yet. And this episode will go live Saturday morning. So, Catherine, people might be listening to this episode, making their way to MetLife Stadium as the Devils stop at their old stomping ground in the Meadowlands. But before we get to all that, I want to be fair to you because I've had some of your colleagues on the show. I've had Dano on the show. I've had Chico on the show. I've had Amanda on the show. I first want to ask you the same question I ask all of them. Where did hockey begin for you, and how did it lead you to New Jersey?
Hockey began for me in a different way than most people, which I kind of love. I think it's really nice to see that people have different paths to the NHL nowadays. I started as just a casual fan. My family could not afford to have us play ice hockey growing up, unfortunately, but having the ability to go to my friends' brothers' games or their games and watch the game in a unique way at the youth hockey level growing up was always fun. And then in high school, I started to become a bigger hockey fan myself. I rooted for the Boston Bruins growing up, so I would always watch their games. I'd always watch the USA Hockey games. And when my family moved to Colorado, when I was in high school, we actually drove by the USA Hockey office, and I said, one day I want to work there. Throughout college, I would help call some of the college hockey games for CU Boulder, and my love for hockey continued to grow, especially with all the Olympic Games and the success US had in 2010, getting the silver, and just how much they've grown as a national team program. From there, I kind of fell into hockey, I say, for a job. I graduated from CU Boulder in 2014, and I had a friend send this job listing for USA Hockey and said, I think you should apply for this. It looks like it could be a really good opportunity for you. So I applied, somehow got the job, and that's where my career in hockey started. I had 3 years there covering all the national teams, World Juniors, U18 men's and women's, women's worlds, U18 women's showdown in the summer, men's worlds. I went to every IHF international tournament, which was awesome for me as a 22-year-old and all the way to 25, just learning international hockey. From there, I wanted to switch things up. So I went to Boston, somewhere that I love the sports teams, and was able to work in college hockey, which was a different mindset, a different way for me to learn the game at a different level. And actually, I covered Shane Bowers and Max Willman at Boston University. So it's always cool to see them in the Devils system. Every time they get called up, it's always great to catch up with them. And from there, I was very lucky that when the Devils job opened up, I was chosen for it. And I consider myself lucky every day. It's been a great 4 years. I'm in my 5th season right now, but I think it's important that there's people who come from different backgrounds and not always just a hockey player growing up that works in hockey. Someone like me who didn't work or who didn't play hockey growing up was able to learn the game and come work in hockey. And my love for the sport grows every single day. And I'm just so fortunate to be where I am.
4 years on to year 5, going strong. And I forgot to mention this at the top of the episode, but when I first took over this show, you were actually one of the first people that I reached out to because I wanted you to appear on it. Unfortunately, we couldn't work something out then, but I just want to say I'm glad that years later and in between meeting you at the Prudential Center, I'm glad that it's finally coming to fruition.
Me too. And it's always great when we see you in New Jersey. And I haven't had the chance to see you on the road in Arizona yet, but one of these days.
Maybe this year?
Not this year for me, but it'll be a great crew that's going out to Arizona.
Okay. I know Sam was here last year, and just a little bit of a hint. You might see me in California if you make the California trip, trying to work something out, but trying to travel more when the Devils come out west, similar to when we met up in Seattle. Exactly.
It's a little bit closer for you when they're out there, so I definitely understand making the trips a little bit easier.
Supposed to go to the couldn't, unfortunately, logistically couldn't do the Stadium Series, but that's why I wanted you on the show to preview it, because I still want to give my fans and my audience just something to be excited for. And what better person to bring on than someone who is able to go behind the scenes and give us all that insight. Now, we're going to touch on that momentarily, but first, I want to get your thoughts on the Devils season. We saw in the previous game against the LA Kings, it was very chippy, and I just want to get your thoughts as to how you've been enjoying the season up to this point.
The season's been great. It's always fun because every year is different, and people may say, well, this happened last year or 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, but every year is different. It's always a new group. There's, of course, the base players, but there's been a lot of talent that's been able to have an opportunity to play on the main stage with all the injuries the Devils have suffered this year. So it's a great look into the system to see the level of availability and see where people are progressing at the AHL level when they come up here to the Devils. So it's been definitely a season that the team has gone through adversity, but the best teams are formed through adversity. And although there have been times that New Jersey has wanted those wins, especially last night, they were working really hard to get at least 1 point against the Kings. And even though it did not happen, the Devils played well. And you're seeing since the All-Star break, they've had a lot better defensive play. Their defensive zone has cleaned up a lot, and the offense is there. It's high power. There's a lot of great star power on this team, and it feels like everything's starting to come together. I talked with Brendan Smith about it for a segment for our pregame show that goes in arena, and he was just talking about, this time of year, everything heightens up, and it's so exciting, and people keep elevating their level of play. So there's still a lot of hockey to come, and probably one of the most exciting games of the year is the Stadium Series game against the Flyers.
Don't worry, there's still more in store. But before we continue with today's episode, I want to tell you guys about eBay Motors. So passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, you're guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, let's get back to our discussion with Devils team reporter Catherine Bogart. Take it away. This is going to be a very highly touted game. I know a lot of people attending it. I know a lot of people covering it. So let's get into it right now. So let's go back to over the summer when we all received the news. What were your initial thoughts when you heard that the Devils would return to their old stomping ground at the Meadowlands?
I think it's awesome. Anytime a team can be part of an NHL event like this, whether it's an outdoor game, a winter classic, one of the trips overseas, it's awesome because it's a way to help grow the game, and it's also a unique experience for these players. Most of them have never played in an outdoor game at any high competitive level, even though a lot of them started playing hockey outdoors, whether it was on a pond, or Lindy Ruff discussing how he used to play in the cattle fields of the farm he lived on. So for this team, it's a great opportunity for these young players and even the veteran players to go outside, see what it's like to play hockey in the elements, because as of right now, we don't know if there will be snow or not during the game, but it'll be a really cool experience. And just anytime you can get one of these opportunities, personally, I was excited. I knew that this would be one of those bucket list items that you want to be a part of. I've covered one outdoor game before at Frozen Fenway for Hockey East, and it was an incredible experience, even though it was about 4 degrees and snowed 8 inches the day before. But regardless, it's one of those things that you'll always remember, and it's something I'm super excited to be a part of.
So you talked about your excitement from your perspective. What's the overall vibe in the locker room, and how have the players been preparing themselves for this event? Because you allude to the fact that a lot of these players haven't played in an outdoor game at the NHL level. So players like Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, that's the big three, as I like to call them, the original core. I want to hear your thoughts as to how they're preparing for it, because the practice is later tonight. Instead of the morning, it's later tonight to get accustomed to the overall feel. So curious to hear your thoughts on the matter.
And that's huge. Being able to practice when the sun is down on the rink one day before will be a really nice way for the Devils to ease into this. The team is always saying, you know, we're focused on this current game and then we'll look ahead. So there, of course, everyone's had this date circled in the calendar. People's families have flown in. Everyone's gearing up for the game. Everyone's excited to be outside. But really, the preparation starts right now. They've already been prepping to play a regular season game. But this is where they get that prep to be outside, be in their actual locker room, get ready for tomorrow's game. And I think what's so exciting for them is it's also a family skate. So they'll be able to have their friends and family that are here in town to see the atmosphere as well when it's empty. And then tomorrow, when everything's crazy and all the activations are going on, it'll be a really cool next step. But a lot of these players have talked to players like Brendan Smith, who has played in multiple outdoor games. They've discussed what it takes to be outside. But when it comes down to it, a lot of players that I've heard talk about outdoor games from other teams in past seasons have always said it's just one of those things that once you're out there, it feels so natural. It's really fun to be a part of. And there's not going to be too much pressure on adjusting to the outdoor part of it. It's more of making sure that the Devils are playing great hockey against a rival and a team ahead of them in the Metro Division right now.
Awesome. And just for clarity's sakes, because I don't want to confuse anybody, Catherine and I are recording this episode Friday afternoon. So this episode will go live Saturday
Good point.
morning. Yeah, so just for clarity, if anyone's confused, no, the date, you did not get the dates wrong, and keep making your way to MetLife Stadium. So just had to clear that up real quick. So what kind of information have you been discovering while attending some of the press conferences? Because I know Martin Brodeur recently spoke at a press conference. There's been a lot of hype and build up to it. So can you share some of the things you've been learning, listening into these press conferences?
Everyone's just sharing how excited they are. And even the excitement started at All-Star Weekend this year. Gary Bettman talking about how he's excited for all these outdoor games and the opportunities for these teams. And when everyone's having these press conferences going around MetLife, the content team put out a really great mic'd up piece having Timo Meier, Jesper Bratt, and I believe Nico Hischier walking around MetLife and going into the locker room. So check out NewJerseyDevils.com for that. But to see just everyone be so excited when they're there and talk about how cool it is that it's a New Jersey-based stadium series. It's not every day you get to be a part of an outdoor game, let alone be one of the home teams of it. So it's a really cool opportunity for everyone. And I think people like Marty was talking about, you know, this isn't technically the arena they played in, but it's the Meadowlands. So like you've said, it's going back home, and he's excited because when he drives into that parking lot, he still looks at, you know, where they used to bring the trophies around and have the Stanley Cup parade. So it's really cool to see a veteran and someone who's been a part of this team from the management side now talk about his playing days in that area and how special it was for him. And now this is, like you said, just adding to the tradition of the Meadowlands for the Devils who do play in Newark now. So this is their opportunity too to kind of bring some history back.
Absolutely. And obviously people are going to be focusing on the game, whether they're there live or watching on the TV. But Mark Cuban had this saying, which is people won't really remember the game, but they will remember the experience, because that's what really sells the cake for a lot of people. So from tailgating to the Jonas Brothers to Gaslight Anthem performing live after every Devils goal, describe what the experience will be like at MetLife Stadium from your perspective.
The NHL always does an incredible job with these events because they want to make it super localized and super focused on what that area is that they're hosting these events. We saw with Seattle in the Winter Classic this year, all the throws to Seattle and the fishermen and the bands and the grunge and all of that they have, like the grunge rock bands that really have made Seattle strong. And it's really going to be cool from what we've seen from the time lapses and how it's being built up. There should be a lot of activations and throwbacks specifically to New Jersey. Getting the Jonas Brothers is a huge pull because they've always wanted to play for an NHL event, and then to do it in their home state, really not far from where they grew up, is amazing. And it should bring a different audience into the game as well, which is something that's very important, something we've seen with the NFL recently. So that will be great for the game. But just being in that area will be so cool because there's a fan fest outside with a mobile museum. There's so many different parts. There's going to be ball hockey on the field in the intermissions and pregame, and there's so many activations that are just going to feel very uniquely New Jersey. And I think that's so special, especially at this time where hockey in the tri-state area has grown so much. And to see all these teams competitive is really going to help grow this game, which at the end of the day, that's what everyone wants. They want to help make it better for the next generation and build a lot of lifelong hockey fans.
Yeah, so everyone check out the mobile museum. I've had the pleasure of checking out myself when they were at the Coyotes and Devils game last year, and also see if you could spot my mentor, Ever Fitzhugh. He has his name in there. And I got to ask you, are you a fan of the Jonas Brothers? Did you used to listen to their music? Because I'll be completely honest, I know who they are, obviously, but I know them best from their Disney Channel show years ago.
I actually am a Jonas Brothers fan. I saw them when they played at Prudential Center not too long ago. So that was a great concert. They love New Jersey. They had so many call outs to their home state. So I'm really excited to see what they do at MetLife and outdoors in this sort of stadium series game. But I am a fan, so I will be listening intently. And one other thing I actually wanted to bring up about the stadium series, because this is wildly important and something that I don't think is known as much, but when teams are a part of these stadium series games, they often take on a legacy project, which is a way to help give back and strengthen their community through this opportunity of playing an outdoor game. And the Devils are launching Jersey Girl Hockey Club, which actually was just announced last weekend. And this is a really cool thing, especially because, as I told you, like, I couldn't afford to play hockey growing up, and where I lived, it was really only elite girls or really competitive, high level, 5 days a week for practices. And this Jersey Girls Hockey Club is a way for the Devils to host girls who are graduating from the Learn to Play program to come play hockey once a week, keep their love of the game strong, but not have the huge pressures of travel and huge dues and elite play. They can be any level that they want. And if they want to have a more casual, once a week time touch point with hockey and playing games, it'll be fun, it'll be competitive, it'll be a great inclusive space. So that is actually my favorite part of what's come out of this stadium series, is that the Devils did create such a great program. And that goes to the marketing department, the youth hockey department, and specifically Casey and Kevin in that department, and Jillian Frechette. The three of them have worked so hard to make this happen. And you may see some of the girls playing ball hockey as well. So it's really exciting, and I wanted to give them a shout out because Jersey Girls Hockey Club has become such an incredible legacy project and something that should be here for a long time to come.
Completely understand that. I do play-by-play for the women's hockey team here at ASU. And in fact, one of the players actually used to play under Bruce Driver. She's from New Jersey. So yeah, it's always great when we reach out to these sort of communities to try to make hockey more accessible to a lot of people, because people wonder why there's not much diversity in hockey. Well, the fact of the matter is that it's not easy to pick up and it's not easy to afford. So I love it that the Devils are trying to give back to the community and make it more accessible in that sort of aspect. And I also want to say, like, Amanda Stein posted this on social media. She says that it is not an option for the Devils to get shut out, especially when they have Gaslight Anthem performing live after all their goals, because someone asked her that and she said not an option. So let's hope that the Devils are able to score frequently so people can hear that sort of experience, because that's what I'm looking forward to watching on my TV. Now, Next question. What can we expect from a playing standpoint? Any storylines or players to keep tabs on?
I think the biggest storyline is both of these teams are pushing for playoff positioning, and the Devils and Flyers both lost their most recent games going into this contest. So both teams will want to bounce back quickly, and they want these points. The Metropolitan Division games are so intense and so heated because it is one of the best divisions in hockey, and the talent there is just incredible. So to see a Flyers Devils matchup is always exciting, no matter where people are in the rankings. But right now, this has really strong playoff implications on the line as well, with the Devils trying to gain some more points and the Flyers ahead of them in the standings. So if the Devils win in regulation, that's not only gaining them 2 points, that's taking away 2 points from someone ahead of them. So that's a big storyline coming into this. And I just want to see how the Devils lines continue to gel. Something we've heard a lot about from Devils head coach Lindy Ruff is that third line coming out really strong with Timo Meier, Dawson Mercer, and Curtis Lazar, and them bringing a lot of scoring threats. And something that all these Devils alums and coaches will talk about is when you're able to have four lines that are rolling well, and every single time any line is on the ice, it's creating offense and opportunities and bringing energy, that's going to tire down your opponent so quickly and make it difficult for them to keep up. And that's the way teams win championships. So to see the Devils finding some really strong chemistry with these lines, to see them healthier to begin with has been incredible after so many injuries this season. So just seeing how the team continues to grow. They've constantly talked in the locker room about we want to have building blocks. We want to keep growing from every game. We want to keep getting better. So that'll be a big storyline too. But of course, the biggest storyline is these are two Metropolitan Division teams. We're in the finals 30 games of the regular season. So this is the time where games are getting closer. They're getting tighter, more physical, increased intensity level. So it'll be fun to see two teams who really want the 2 points and not just share with 1 point to their opponent.
Every point is so vital for the Devils up to this point, because we talked about the Metro, and they have a chance at the wild card as well. So they have options, but they can't be affording to leave points on the board. So they got to try to muster up as many as they potentially can. All right. Last few questions. From a media side of things, how have you been preparing for the game, and what are you most excited for to cover it from the MetLife press box?
We're going to have a really cool opportunity to kind of highlight the experience of going to the Stadium Series with my show, Jersey Life. We try to give a lot of behind the scenes looks at events and different programs that we do, charity events. So for us, we're going to do some stuff in the pregame. So you might see us wandering around the parking lot trying to interview some fans, but we're really excited to help have a video with that. We're going to have incredible team coverage as per usual from Amanda Stein and Sam Kassan. Sam will be on the radio side as well with Matt Lachlan and Chico Resch. I will be joining them for parts of their radio broadcast as well. So I love to go back to radio. I started in social media and radio myself, so I always love being able to channel those roots. But we're going to have some really great coverage on NewJerseyDevils.com, and that's a huge thanks to the hockey operations PR department, for marketing team, for everyone who's been a part of this. And we really have become an organization that loves telling these stories and sharing these hockey moments, and we're really grateful that we have the opportunity to be at a game like this and help cover it. So I'm very excited to just walk in on Saturday and see everything and watch the whole game come to life. And I really cannot wait to just be a part of it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a not once in a lifetime, because I don't want to go that far, but it's definitely a career bucket lister kind of thing, because like it doesn't come around too often. Because I think the last time the Devils participated in an outdoor game was 2012 at Yankee Stadium, and for reference, 2012, I was in middle school. So yeah, it's been a while. Before we close out today's episode with Catherine, let me tell you guys about Camino Consulting. So how would you like to get to know someone better in an hour than you would in a year? Understanding one another better prevents small misunderstandings from becoming big ongoing fights. After providing more than 20 years of service to small and mid-sized businesses, helping management groups navigate conflict and onboarding new employees, Camino is offering a digital seminar for families and couples. Did your Valentine's gift of tickets to the game not go according to plan as you would have liked? Well, get the couples and family online seminar for 25% off for the month of February using the discount code Locked On. Again, that is a discount code called Locked On for 25% off for the rest of the month at www.caminoconsulting.ca, or mention Locked On when reaching out for a business seminar and receive the first 5 profiles free. Okay, it's time to wrap up today's episode with Catherine. Take it away yet again. Last few questions sent in from some of my audience members. Pucks and Pitchforks, which is the site that I work at, they want me to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Stadium Series jersey? And I'm not sure if you can answer this or not, but do you think it should become an official alternate?
I never get involved in what should be alternates or not, so I'll preface with that. But I think the jersey was so well done. I've really loved all the new jerseys that New Jersey has created over my time with the Devils. A little pun for you there, but I loved the first all-black uniform that the Devils have for their third jersey, and I think this Stadium Series jersey is a really nice addition to the lineup that we've seen. There's been so many cool ones, reverse retros and all of that in my first couple of seasons with the team, so that was really cool. You have one right there. I remember my first 2 seasons seeing all these reverse retros and loving them, but I think the Stadium Series is actually my favorite so far. I love all the little details of it. I think it's such a bold look, and I love that it has kind of a feel that it could be almost football-esque, but I really like that it's really strong in the branding of the Devils, and I think it's going to look phenomenal when you're watching these games. And that's, you're in an arena, but not really. You're at a football field, so it's going to be a lot more space in between the rink and the fans. So I think you really need a jersey that pops, and I think this one will be great.
Yeah, it's starting to grow on me, quite honestly. So I think I said you can look at the rendering images all you want, but I think the product will look a lot better on the ice, under the lights, and things of that nature. All right, last question. This is sent in from one of my colleagues. He wants to know specifically what's it like being around Shimon Nemets and Kevin Ball with them at practice and in media scrums. Quite honestly, I could have answered that for him, but if you would be so kind to basically say, like, what's it like working with those 2 players, because he's a huge fan of their skill set.
It was Shimon Nemec's birthday yesterday on Thursday.
No longer a teenager.
It's always good to see him, but it's been really cool to watch his story grow. I mean, he's one of 2 Slovakian players that was picked 1-2 in his draft year, and that really is such a big moment for his country. And now to see him playing in the NHL, he's turned heads since day one, and he's a very great person. We love being able to talk with him. Both him and Kevin have been so gracious and given us great insight with their time here with the Devils, as all players have. We've been really lucky. Every time we go into that locker room, as you know, Trey, everyone's been so kind and so willing. And I love being able to get their insights on things. And it's been great just to see both of them. And this is such a unique experience. I mean, we have a very young D-core here in New Jersey at the moment, and this is great opportunities for all of them to grow. Lindy Ruff has discussed how you're a rookie defenseman technically for 1 season, but really you're a rookie for 2 to 3 seasons at minimum. It's one of the hardest positions to become specialized in and to become such a strong NHL blue liner, just because of all the intricacies of the game and how hard it is to be a defenseman in this game. So it's really cool to see the growth that Kevin Ball has had, and he's talked so openly with us, even at the end of last season, on the things he wanted to work on, and to see him improve in those areas this year has been great. But both of them have been awesome players to work with, as has everyone. Every time we go into that locker room, it's a privilege. And it's awesome that these players are so kind with their time and their answers and their insight. And I never take it for granted. I'm always very grateful when we step into that room to get those questions answered. But those 2 have been really fun to work with as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can back you up on that. I've done a lot of things from like football, basketball, baseball, and honestly, I've had no issue interviewing hockey players, no matter how good or bad I might ask a question. I've never had an issue with anyone specifically, and no one's ever turned me down for a question. So I always enjoy the time spent in the locker room, just trying to get the best insight we can. And I also enjoy it when you, Amanda, or Sam, whomever leads it off, because you kind of take the pressure off our shoulders at times. But yeah, it's just it's great, and it's just an overall great experience. And truly blessed to be a part of the Devils organization. And I'm always glad to be around y'all because y'all have been very supportive of me and my career. And speaking of which, I want to thank you for taking the time to appear on the show. I know it's going to be a busy 48 hours for you, but once again, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to appear. So where can my audience find you at, even though they most likely already know where to locate you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram, my first and last name, Catherine Bogart. But also make sure you check out the NewJerseyDevils.com team website. We have so much great content there. And the people who are a part of this content team work so hard. I'm very lucky to be a part of that group and to have the access and the abilities that we do to create so much. So I really recommend it. Everyone in our marketing team, hockey operations and PR, everyone works together so we can help tell the stories of this team. And it's been such a privilege for me to do so. So I'm very grateful for all of them, but make sure you check it out because my colleagues, as you have mentioned, a couple of them do such a great job. And I'm constantly learning from them every day. So I'm always grateful for their feedback and the opportunities I have. But we really are so lucky to have such a great content team. So definitely check them out. Our social media team's a part of that, and they've been phenomenal. As everyone knows, they tend to take Twitter by storm with their great tweets. So I always love to see it. But Trey, you do a wonderful job, and we're always happy when we see you walk into the locker room with us. So keep up the great work. I remember when you started with Adrian College calling some games. So you've grown so much. I remember when you started there. So you've grown so much and you continue to grow. And this is just a really fun way to be a part of your journey. So I appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you. And as I do to close out every episode, well, first and foremost, make sure to follow Catherine on her social media platforms. Check her out on NJD TV for all the up-to-date information. And also check her out in between intermissions if you're ever at the Prudential Center, hear what she has to say. But as I do to close out every episode, continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day in New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. And Catherine, have fun at MetLife Stadium.
Thank you so much.